What is going on, my super sandwiches? Rhymestyle here, and today we're bringing some interesting news about the future of Dragon Ball. Now, the main reason I decided to do this video is because Volume 1 of Dragon Ball Super is going to come out April 4th in Japan. No release date yet on when we'll see the English version by Viz Media or whatever, but when we hear about that, we'll let you guys know. But the first volume of the Dragon Ball Super manga will be coming out April 4th for you to purchase. Now, the reason why we decided to do this video is because there's something really interesting about this first volume. There's an interview between Toyotaro and Toriyama about the future of Dragon Ball. Now, normally when you're pushing, a product, you will push around what's going on. So in this situation, something that would make sense is if they had Toyotaro and Toriyama an interview about the process of how they work. Like, that would make sense. But since the big focus was around the future of Dragon Ball Super, it makes you think that we're going to get a lot more content over the course of the next couple years. Now, this is obviously a no-brainer for several reasons. Number one, Dragon Ball Super is vastly successful in Japan. Like, the ratings have been amazing. The fan response around the entire world has been incredible. Like, people want more Dragon Ball. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. So, even though we don't know what the future is going to consist of or whether or not it even will be a future, but like I said, my guess is because since they are pushing this like this, there is going to be some kind of future. And when we actually hear information about what that future is, we'll let you guys know come around April 4th. But what me and Kwame decided to do is talk about what we want to see next. So before we start, what we want to hear from you guys, the community, the awesome community, we want you to comment below what is it that you want to see next in the Dragon Ball story. And be sure to get specific if you want to. If you want to see fusions, if you want to see more transformations, if you want to see crazy villains, anything you want to see, this is your chance to kind of talk about what you would love to see in a series in Dragon Ball Super. So let's go ahead and start with Kwame. What is it that you want to see, with the direction of Dragon Ball, not just with Dragon Ball Super, but overall as a series?
Well, I'm not gonna be a fanboy today, but the first thing, and I'm not just talking for Piccolo. I'm saying I think that the number one thing we need to see for the entire franchise is I think they need to somehow get the other characters more involved. And Dino, how familiar are you with the Digimon series?
Very familiar.
Well, like I've said before, like this kind of reminds me of Digimon Season 3, where like it was Takuya and Koji, and they were like so much stronger than everybody else that like it kind of made it irrelevant. So that's one thing. Also, I'd also like to see an advancement of like actually going to the other universes. And Dino, I said from the beginning that I never thought Dragon Ball was going to end with just this tournament because I don't think they would create these 12 universes for us to only see one.
Well, it makes sense because, originally when Toriyama made the whole 12 universes thing, it was probably just made for a what if. Like, what if I can keep going with Dragon Ball? And after seeing how successful Dragon Ball was, it only makes sense that you can dig into it. So I guess the question I ask you is what would you want to see after this tournament? Like, timeline-wise, character development-wise, villain-wise, what do you want to see?
Well, to be completely honest with you, I want Dragon Ball to go past the GT story arc in terms of time, and I know that they're kind of walking on toes here, but the thing is, I think that by keep constricting yourself to that GT timeline, it kind of gives fans a sense of, I kind of already know what's going to be the ultimate result. Piccolo's going to get revived because he's at the end of the series, and I think that they have to go past that if they really want to have like an engaging true story where people don't know the ultimate outcome.
You know what I would love to see? I would love to see the ending get rewritten. Not necessarily changed, because I really don't care about how the story ended, because I was okay with it. But rewritten in a ways where it doesn't leave you feeling so empty. Because Dragon Ball Z, when it ended, it left me so empty. And it's weird to say that, but like I would love to see them go past that, number one. And two, I want to see what you said. I want to see more characters involved. I mean, think about this. Let's look at Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super right now has left so many potential possibilities in the future. Like, we have, the whole Vegeta going to, the Sand Home Planet Universe 6 is a thing. We have
Planet
Gohan
Salad.
we have Gohan being back. We have obviously the Super Saiyan Blue transformations, which we know nothing about. We have Beerus and Whis. Like, there's so much that they can develop on that I honestly don't know where to even start. Because here's the thing. Honestly, looking at the current God Destruction arc, I don't think we'll see now that I feel like there's going to be a future, I don't think we'll see a Beerus and Whis fight quite yet. And how I originally thought we were going to get an ending to the God Destruction arc is I figured that at some point we'll get Beerus and Whis to fight against Goku and Vegeta. But now that I feel like that there is going to be a future beyond, what we have right now, I feel like at some point in the future, there's going to be an epic fight between Beerus and Whis and Goku and Vegeta. And that will be amazing. Can you picture this? Picture this. They're both losing in a fuse. Who doesn't want fusion? Who doesn't want fusion?
Yeah, I mean that would. I mean, it wouldn't be creative because we've seen fusion before, but I mean that would be interesting, an interesting twist for characters.
Yeah. Well, the thing about fusion is like the only real fusion that we've ever really seen was Gotenks. We saw Vegito briefly. We saw Gogeta briefly, but like the only fusion that we've ever really seen and like the potential was with Gotenks. That was always his thing. So I think the reason why we're thirsting for fusion so much is because, you know, we never really got to see the potential of it. And now that you have Goku and Vegeta so powerful as is, and they were already so strong in their base forms when they fused against Super Buu, can you just imagine a godlike fusion? That'd be awesome. Now, I'm personally not a huge fan of fusion, but if we can get the potential of seeing more stuff beyond this current arc, because as of right now, there's never been any word or discussion on what else is going to happen. It's always kind of assumed. And again, because Dragon Ball is a very successful franchise, it's a no-brainer to keep it going. Now that we have a possibility of seeing way more beyond that, I would love to see fusion. I would love to see it.
I mean, but what they could also do is they could also introduce like a new type of fusion, so it's not just the generic dance or just using the airings again.
I'm glad you brought that up because in the new game for 3DS, we got a name official for it. It's called Dragon Ball Fusions, and they fuse using Capsule Corporation technology. These wrists that you put on your arm, and if you're wearing it, anybody can fuse regardless of rules. So I can fuse with you, for example, if we have these armbands on thing. So maybe they can do that. Who knows? You know, something that I would love to see though is kind of seeing elements that we see in the extended universe, like Dragon Ball Heroes and stuff like that. So whether it be villains or like crazy, like I don't even know how to like explain this, but just the craziness that we see in the extended universe. Maybe like the time travel aspect of it. Seeing things like that. Like what do you think about that?
I mean, that would be awesome. I mean, one thing though that a lot of fans have speculated is if future Trunks would come back. In my opinion, I think that's a little too far-fetched, but seeing like an alternate universe and like the other characters, like seeing Goku in another timeline, like kind of like what Multiverse does, I think that would be very interesting to see, like how the characters we know interact with them.
I agree. I mean, looking at it from the point where it makes sense, the only way or only direction I see the story going after the God of Destruction arc ends is into the other universes. Because, like, let's be real here. In Universe 7, Goku and Vegeta are already strongest. Like, who else can challenge them other than Beerus?
And Piccolo.
And Piccolo, of course. But I feel like as far as Universe 7, they're already the strongest to the point where no one can really mess with them in that situation anymore. So all I can see is as far as going past, the story, Universe 1 through 11, I guess, or I guess 1 through 12, not counting 7 and 6 we've already saw that. That's the only direction I see it going. Whether they be just challenging other gods, maybe Universal Tournaments. Although, I will admit, Universal Tournaments would kind of disappoint me because in a way that's a ripoff of Multiverse. I mean, I never really read Multiverse, but like, I feel like seeing how the God of Destruction Tournament is, I feel like that was kind of inspired by Multiverse. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you in that sense that it would be kind of a ripoff, but at the same time,
it could be dope.
The difference is that kind of in Multiverse we kind of already have like the same characters, whereas from what we're seeing in Dragon Ball Super, it's like in the other universes there's different complete entities. Like Frost is not Frieza. He's like that universe's version of Frieza, but he's not Frieza.
Yep, exactly.
So that's what I kind of like more about, Super, because they're making it a little bit more original with the characters.
Yep. Which is my final question of this video. Would you want to see any characters come back?
I mean, like, are you talking about, like, from Dragon Ball Z?
From the entire Dragon Ball series at all.
Wow, I mean, if I had to pick somebody to come back, honestly, this is going to be a cliche answer, but I'd probably want Launch to come back, because I think that
wow, that's interesting.
Launch would be very interesting for Dragon Ball Super, because her personality would mesh really well with all these new characters in terms of comic relief, because Super hasn't been as funny as Dragon Ball, and I think adding more humor and going back to some of those lighter tones is kind of what could, I think, elevate the series.
Right. What I was going to say is, honestly, even though I mentioned I would love to see the whole timeline aspect of it, like seeing the time travel thing, I don't mean exactly like Xenoverse or what we saw in Dragon Ball Online. I just meant like the idea of traveling through time. Like, that'd be kind of cool. But as far as having any characters come back, I don't want them to come back. Like, Frieza was cool in Resurrection F, but now it's already been done. So, like, if they brought back Self, they brought back, even introduced Broly, if they introduced any characters out of the past, like Bardock or even Trunks again, as much as I want to, as part of me wants to see that happen, I also don't, because I'd rather get the new stuff as well, because then that really allows us to dig into other theories and speculations that we can talk about. Because, like, if Trunks comes back, we already know they can be stronger than the characters they are now. Or if, you know, Bardock comes back, he's definitely not going to be anywhere near as strong as Goku or something like that. Like, unless he
Exactly.
it would just bug me, if anything, just because it would be a giant plot hole. And of course, Broly come back, or if he gets introduced into the actual canon side of the story, it also wouldn't make sense because he, at this point, he would probably get one punched. One punch! Whoa. With that said, I would love to see everything from now on new. Because, like, watching the Champa arc after watching Resurrection F and Battle of Gods, I'm enjoying it so much because it's different and new. Granted, Frost is basically Frieza, but he's a different kind of Frieza. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. If there is a future Dragon Ball, like, we're not confirming that there's a Dragon Ball future yet. It's just based on seeing how, you know, they're advertising or discussing the future of Dragon Ball. It gives me reason to believe that there's going to be a lot more content over the course of the next couple years after the Champa arc ends. What were you gonna say, though?
I mean, I would agree with you. I mean, the only thing I could add to that, Dino, is I think maybe they could add maybe another concept with like having another godlike race, or maybe like bringing the Tuffles back. I think bringing the Tuffles back could also be awesome.
The godly race, that's what I want to talk about when I was talking about Dragon Ball Heroes earlier. Because if you remember, like 3 weeks ago, they added godly avatars for every single race in there. So they have the red-eyed Namekians, which is basically Namekians with God Ki. They have the godly Frieza race, which is basically a golden form. They have godly Super Saiyans, which is basically red hair. They have a godly class for every single race, and bringing that back, introducing it for more than just Saiyans and whatever Beerus and Whis are, that'd be interesting to see too. So yeah. But I don't know. I mean, the future of Dragon Ball looks like we'll find out some more on April 4th, or even sooner than that if the actual interview leaks. So when that happens, keep an eye on my channel, Kwame's channel, Geekdom's channel, all our channels, because we'll definitely let you guys know. So make sure you stay tuned, subscribe if you're new here, and we'll keep you guys in the loop. But other than that, now we want to hear from you guys. What is it that you want to see about, you know, from Dragon Ball story, the future of it, over the course of the next couple years after the Champa arcs ends? Any specific details, any characters you want to come back, fusion, whatever, comment below and let's see what the community is thinking. Kwame, is there anything else?
Nope. I'm just really excited to see like all of this stuff unravel, and honestly, if Dragon Ball could come back and, you know, expand into new content instead of rehashing old content, I think that's the best thing.
Yeah. Watch the interview actually come out and you're just gonna be like, oh yeah, there's no more futures, is it? Oh, that's
yeah.
Cool. No, it's not gonna happen. There's no way, because it's too successful. The ratings in Japan are killing it, and it's not even out in the world yet. It's killing in Japan. So we'll get many games, we'll get many more stories, hopefully, and I guess let's keep this community growing, because like it's crazy. Dragon Ball came out in the late 80s, it ended in the late 90s, and now it's back again in the same freaking caliber that we saw. I almost said Excalibur. The same caliber that we saw back in the 90s. Is crazy. Like, I want to see what else is going to happen, so I'm excited. And I'm pretty sure everybody else is excited, so show your excitement by punching that like button right in the balls. Kwame, go ahead and do your thing.
Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always said, have a great day, guys, and please make Piccolo relevant again.